and happy Tuesday 10 at 10. I am your host, Richard Charpentier, and every Tuesday we get onto the Tuesday 10 at 10 where we answer questions sent through Bakerpedia, and we take 10 minutes to answer whatever questions we receive from you, the viewer. So thank you for listening and thank you for sending questions. So let's get started. We have a question regarding sweetbread, and we're being asked, I'm making sweetbread and a pancake, but I want to reduce the two products, the 45% of total added sugar. So they have a 45% total added sugar. What can I replace the sugar? But I do not want to use polyol, sugar, alcohol, flavor, etc. So it's a vague questions, but if you have 45, let's say 50% sugar, which might be very high, I always say, there's a point with sweetness, especially on the higher level of sweetness, where sometimes cutting 10, 20, maybe 25% and test it and replace it with flour and just see, does that make a big difference? Same as I've done in the past for salt reduction. You go and you use salt, and then 2% on baker's percent, and you start lowering it to 1.25 to 1.5, and you realize it makes a slight difference, but it's about taking the baby steps. So sometimes, from a formula standpoint, replacing sugar, maybe putting flour instead of the sugar. And maybe we're not talking about if you have 45%. What if you say, okay, I'm going to have 40% sugar? So I do not know what target you're going after, if you're making a claim or sugar reduction claim, etc. So which is a different approach. But right now, if you're just saying, I want to get sugar, reduce the sugar, because one, are you trying to just make a claim? Are you trying to bring the sweetness down of your product, which in that case, like what I've said earlier, you can easily move a little bit, maybe 5, 10, maybe up to 20%. But that's what product development comes in place. It's all about you doing the work and trying to see what it works. And often on those products, shake, also validate. And if you sell a pancake mix, then validate a sweet bread mix. I don't know what it is, but shake it. So it's always, there are many, many, many ways, other ways that you can do to approach it, but within a short segment, and that's basically what I told you. Thank you for your question, though. Next question, it's on water activity. So with someone asking, hello, I have a question about reducing water activity up to 0.3% in baked stable filling. Is there any raw material that can help us in this matter? And I've used glycerin, sorbitol, and dextrose to reduce the water activity, but heat tolerance reduced too, and my filling became liquid. So, as you know, in order to lower the water activity for that low, you have to understand what else can be done. And when you're going to the 0.35, glycerin is your go-to. And to have a bread that's got to be low, that low in water, or to have a filling that's going to be that low in water activity level, you have to use a lot of glycerin, a lot of sorbitol to really drop it. The only thing as a powder form is a polydextrose that I played with in the past. So I don't remember who was making it. I want to say Cargill or a company like that. Look it up. Polydextrose was good to lower water activity, but not to that low. So another question to you would be, why are you trying to be at 0.35? What would be the incentive to be that low with your filling? Uh, and is there reasoning behind it? Because the lower at those level, you're going to affect the taste big time, unless you cover it up with lots of flavor and other things. But there's only so much sugar, alcohol, or other ingredients can do. So, question is, always have the main objective. Why are you going to 0.35? What's the main reason? And then if it's a reason behind it, then try to find ingredients, but you're getting into super low water activity, and very difficult to control. So I don't know how much, like the high level of ingredients added you will have to use in order to get there. But good question. So thank you, and keep on following Bakerpedia. Another question. Bread storage. Does cheese bread need to be refrigerated for retail sale? We have never refrigerated it, but we have had an inspector tell us it needs to be. We have been making and selling multiple bread with cheese for many years, and this is the first we have heard of having to refrigerate our breads. Any helps will be appreciated. Well, first of all, it's a regulation question. Whether I cannot speak on behalf of the inspector. I'm assuming it's a local county or wherever you're located that says, hey, what you use refrigerated cheese, a certain amount of dairy products filled with it, it needs to be refrigerated. I'm not a regulatory or expert of those type of products, and the reasoning why, whether or not it's are you putting a cream cheese, because if it's a cream cheese, if it's a product that is to be, you don't mention the cheese, you said it's a cheese bread. So is this a cream cheese? Is this a soft cheese that needs to be refrigerated? You inject the bread with, I've seen that being done where they need to be frozen or refrigerated. So what's the reasoning behind it, and what's the shelf life of the bread? And those are questions that I will, if you want to go further than that, I would be, go to the Bakerpedia page. There's the consultancy. You can get a consultant for 30 minutes, or if you shoot a message through the Bakerpedia website and contact, you can send emails. I'll be glad to connect you with a regulatory expert, because at this point, that's what you would need, someone who understands all the rules and regulations and how you get to it, because now you're dealing with a CFR Title 21. Remember, when we sell products to the public, and as you extend the shelf life of prepackaged things, then you have to apply and oblige to the rules under the federal government, which is the CFR Title 21 and Code of Federal Regulation. And thank God we have that in place, but there's a lot of rules to follow as food manufacturers are just scaling up. And those are great questions, but you can't take it lightly. The product has to be the safety, and regardless of or not the inspector is right or not, I don't know. And I would go check it and take it further and investigate and educate yourself within the matter. But good question. So now for the last question, what is the best falling number for pizza flour? So I would say best is going to be around the 220, 260, same as the bread flour, because you want the same as a bread flour. You don't want too much enzyme activity or not enough, because it's the quality of a flour based on falling number. It's relating to how much maturity they've gotten and how much enzyme. So I would say the same as to apply, because a pizza and a bread, it's the same. It's yeast leavened. It's something you eat. The only difference is a pizza, you're going to put tomato sauce and other toppings of your choice. But from a falling number, I would say the same. No need to be changed, and that's what you're going to make a good pizza with. So without any further ado, I'm going to wrap it up. So thank you very much for listening, and I will see you next week. Thank you.